that I've heard and what I feel like African Americans is reaching out for is equal opportunity in the workforce, equal opportunity to affordable housing, free the imprisonment of African Americans on drug charges. That is a hard topic. Stop the suppressing.
We have a lot of work to do in bringing about change. But that is why you make transitions. You don't have to think about the line at the finish line because we're going to get there together. But you make the transition. And the first transition you have to do is you have to step outside the box of your mind.
Yes.
Into a whole new force field that might feel uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, you're going to be very rewarded in thanking yourself to know that you were able to be at the right place at the right time, to gain this much knowledge with the time that you have, to do your purpose, to be ushered into your purpose.
Yes, my people. What we asking for what I was just explaining about the past, we need the North to look upon the South, and we need the South to look upon the North.
And we need the East to look upon the West, and the West to look upon the East.
And call out any cruelty,
inequalities
that is upon any culture. But with the African Americans, that is my perceptive.
And to all the worldwide listeners, that is our reasoning for speaking about the inequalities beyond the income or wealth. We spoke to your standards of living. We spoke to your health, your social mobility.
And yes, and that's perfectly said, because I feel like that is one of the first things that need to be changed. A lot of people think, which is a lot of African Americans, which is about round out about 80% of blacks are incarcerated behind drug charges. Not all of them was drug charges, but murders and different types of charges. But it's a large majority of drug charges that has done an impact to the African American communities. That is one of the couple of things that needs to be have more knowledge about, have a change movement that I feel they could start a huge movement, a uneven balance of the workforce. And it's a systematic system that needs to be more knowledgeable to the mass people and why it is set up like that. And there goes, to me, from my opinion, is from the past. I mean, that is one way you can keep a culture suppressed, is give them less opportunity to go to college, to get a better income job. Flood their communities with drugs and guns. Willie Lynch laws and the Jim Crow laws. But all these things has went undercover. It's time to uprise these undercover entities that is suppressing African Americans.
Basically, nobody is free if we all are not free. If there's any inequality in this world, then we all are bound by it, because we are mirrors of each other in the face of humanity. And that is the main goal of Transitional Change's mission. We are a part of an ethnic group that is tired, but we're also a part of a great ethnic group that can come up with solutions for a brighter day.
And we'll talk about the future now. So stay tuned. Keep in touch with us. We cranking up the time machine right now. We're heading to the future, my people.
And stick around. We'll be back after this. Enjoy the music.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back to the Transition to Changes Mission podcast show with your host, King Summers.
And your host, Queen Summers.
Yes, my people. We are now into the future, but we left off at giving some solutions to the problem of racism.
Inequalities.
Yes, and we are making that movement to the future to what is the solutions to it. And like I gave my perspective or what I perceive, which could start a huge footprint in the complaints that is coming from the African American community. Now, I was stating that within some of these solutions that I have heard from communities or hearing from the outcall of what is the problem, and the main thing that I say that is a huge problem that needs to be fixed is the labor income gap. Therefore, I feel that you will have less crimes going on from the African American community, or let alone less imprisonment. So that is a huge topic of racism going on in the workforce, which I myself have experienced. And it's very, very undercover. I mean, very undercover. Or if you upset your supervisor, he might have you doing more hard labor than the other. Or just keep continuing that you feel being picked at. But yeah, you have the most jobs offer, human resource. But from my experience and from what I have heard from the communities, which is the silence that is involved into the police, is that when you talk about these problems, there are bad solutions that would happen towards you. For instance, a job might hear you out, solve the solution, but you will be on the radar of that job if you do pull out racism among a supervisor or a coworker, and you will be out of income. And they might put that on your record of a reference. This is a troublemaker. The same goes with the police, which has led to no snitching and things. A lot of people feel that the police wouldn't back them, or a community that had gangs might be put into danger. So equal opportunity within the workforce is a huge topic, which we are going to continue with many series off of these topics.
I have a solution. The source of racial wealth divide is grounded in endowment, the unequal and unfair distribution of inherited advantage. Baby bonds. It was originally conceived to present people their federally managed accounts set up at birth for children and endowed by the federal government with assets that will grow over time. These funds can be used when the child reaches adulthood for education, to purchase a home, or to start a business. And one recent study shows a baby bond program has the potential to reduce the current black-white wealth divide by more than 10-fold. So if more people knew about baby bonds and you start those up, I feel that would be even better. So that's great education. Google baby bond. And then I'd also like to say, guarantee employment and significant raise the minimum wage. Black and Latinx workers are twice as likely as white workers to be among the working poor, meaning they have a job, but that job doesn't pay enough to cover basic living expenses. What is needed is not just more jobs, but more good jobs that pay a living wage for everyone who is able to work. A federal jobs guarantee would provide universal job coverage for all adult Americans and eliminate involuntary unemployment. It would offer existing workers a viable alternative to jobs with low wages, inadequate benefits, and undesirable working conditions. And moreover, the work would be used to create and improve our nation's physical and human public infrastructure. The current federal minimum wage is lower than the cost of living in every city in the country. At every education level, blacks are often twice as likely to be unemployed compared to their similarly educated white peers. We recognize that income and wealth are conceptually different and that the racial wealth divide persists through the income distribution. And nonetheless, the income from a federal job guarantee will limit the racially disproportionate exposure to predatory finance, wealth stripping debt traps resulting from inadequate income, unemployment, and income vitality.
And wow, my people, that's one thing that can make a change. And that's the same thing that we are talking about the equal opportunity. I also would say there is a need of change in the equal opportunity of affordable housing. Both of them are connected, the income gap and affordable housing. Most cities, or how this system works, of the rich runs the country because they provide work. Most billionaires or wealthy people own companies, or they open companies to give work to the people. That has caused the argument upon Republicans and Democrats, but there is effect upon that. Governments don't create jobs, people do. And with that said, once these people have established these jobs, that's where I was explaining about the equal opportunity of the workforce income gap need to be changed.
Right.
Yes, there is a lot more African Americans that need more knowledge of college knowledge. More African Americans more are needed into the workforce of management or business and management.
And technology. Right.
If we gain these workforces, I think that income would increase upon the culture of African Americans. Therefore, that housing of that culture could change dramatically.
Right. And I say, to wrap up this whole episode, for me, my last solution would be starting a congressional committee on reparations. Congress has considered for decades the topic of reparations, but never created a formal commission to take on the issue or grapple with what it would really look like. In 2008, the House of Representatives, they passed a resolution issuing a symbolic formal apology for slavery and Jim Crow. Unfortunately, this resolution did not acknowledge the ongoing injustice created by this history and did not move forward any effort to address this injustice. Legislation like H.R. 40, championed for many years by now retired Republican Jim Conyers, he's a Democrat in Michigan, and currently by Republican Sheila Jackson Lee, she's a Democrat in Texas, proposes to create a commission to study the issue and then propose what an apology and